Good evening. Thanks for joining us. You're watching the evening edition of News on 2. I'm Jessica Lee. Police have detained the driver of the Toyota Vios involved in the Penang Bridge accident, which resulted in the death of the driver of an SUV, to assist in investigation, which is conducted under Section 41, Subsection 1 of the Road Transport Act 1987. Seberang Perai Tengah SPT Chief of Police ACP Nik Ros Azhan Nik Abdul Hamid said the 21-year-old man was arrested after he surrendered himself at the SPT Police Contingent Headquarters at 2 a.m. this morning. According to ACP Nik Ros Azhan, police have recorded 15 statements from the victim's friends and witnesses at the accident scene. In the 2:45 a.m. incident last Sunday, two vehicles, a Toyota Vios and a Mazda CX-5 SUV, were involved in a fatal accident at kilometre 4 of the Penang Bridge heading towards Perai. Due to the hard impact, the victim was killed after his SUV plunged off the bridge into the sea, while the driver of the Toyota Vios suffered injuries. Results of the 3-hour post-mortem of the victim's body showed that the victim, identified as Moy Yun Ping, 20, died due to drowning after his car fell into the sea. Preliminary urine test on the Vios driver also showed that he had been under the influence of ganja. Former Federal Territories Minister Datuk Seri Tengku Adnan Tengku Mansur today maintained his not guilty plea on charges of accepting 2 million ringgit bribe from a businessman in 2016. He reiterated his not guilty plea after the charge was read out again when the case came up for mention for the first time before Kuala Lumpur High Court Judge Muhammad Zaini Mazlan after it is transferred from the Sessions Courts. Datuk Seri Tengku Adnan was charged under Section 165 of the Penal Code, which provides jail of up to 2 years or fine or both if found guilty under paragraph 16 subsection AA of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission Act 2009 MACC, which was punishable under subsection 24 subsection 1 of the same act, which provides jail not more than 20 years and fine not less than 5 times the amount or value of the bribe if found guilty. Judge Muhammad Zaini allowed an application by lawyer Datuk Tan Hock Chuan, representing Datuk Seri Tengku Adnan, 68, for the temporary release of his client's impounded passport to travel overseas for business, and also informed the court that his client also had 2 children studying overseas. In allowing the application, Muhammad Zaini allowed the return of Datuk Seri Tengku Adnan's passport until the next date of mention, which is the 28th of February, with bail of 500,000 ringgit in one surety. An assistant director at the Corporate Communications Department of a public university in Selangor is in remand for 7 days from today for alleged corruption involving more than 30,000 ringgit 4 years ago. Magistrate Shazali Hidayat Sharif issued the order following an application against the 42-year-old man by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commissions, or MACC. A similar order was also issued by the magistrate today against a 47-year-old senior administrative assistant at the same university. Both the men were arrested at about 10:45 p.m. yesterday when they presented themselves at the Selangor MACC headquarters in Shah Alam, Selangor. They were alleged to have conspired in accepting more than 30,000 ringgit from an owner of an advertising company as gratification for recommending the company to carry out supply and printing work for the university. A man pleaded not guilty at the Ipoh Sessions Court in Perak to a charge of committing physical sexual assault on his daughter. The 30-year-old man, an army corporal, made the plea before Judge Julie Lak Abdullah. Was charged with committing the offence on the girl, who was then 4 years and 5 months old, at their house in Bandar Baru Putra, Ipoh, in December last year. Based on the charge sheet, the accused allegedly inserted his finger into his 4-year-old daughter's private part. The charge under Section 14 of the Sexual Offences Against Children's Act 2017 provides an imprisonment of up to 20 years, with the offender also liable to whipping if found guilty. Prosecutor Naidatul Athira asked for the court not to allow bail as the accused lives with the victim and the victim's mother, and worried that the accused would harass the witnesses in this case. The accused, however, pleaded to be granted bail as he is still serving in the military, but Judge Julie agreed with the prosecutor and set 25th of February for the remention of the case. The Human Resources Ministry will use the online system for all of its transactions within the ministry, especially for the application of foreign workers and financial transactions. Its Minister M. Kulasegaran said this will indirectly reduce the risk of corruption and malpractice. Kulasegaran said the move would ensure that there would be no direct interaction between enforcement and regulatory agency officers under his ministry and the public, thus reducing the possibility of corruption.
Dan satu di antara cadangan kita, Timbalan Menteri dan saya dan tim-tim di sini adalah kita we do seberapa banyak yang boleh, kalau boleh semua pun online. Permohonan di mana melibatkan wang, semua permohonan boleh dibuat secara online supaya tidak perlu berjumpa.
Kulasegaran said corruption was a major problem with the previous government and should be eradicated by the new government. He said this after the ministry's New Year message in Putrajaya today. Apart from corruption, the minister also stressed on the 7 improvements which needs to be made by the ministry. Among the improvements include performing tasks more efficiently and acting fast when receiving an application and complaint. In another development, Kulasegaran said the ministry is targeting 1 million workers to join trade unions by 2020. He said it is very important for workers from various sectors to be represented, especially when it involves the economic and social interests of workers. The government has yet to finalize the proposed increase of sewerage service charges. Water, Land and Natural Resources Minister Dr. A. Xavier Kumar said his ministry is still discussing with all relevant parties before making any decision pertaining to the new tariff structure and rates.
The last review of IWK tariffs was 25 years ago. Some of you were not born. That is how long we are having the same rates from 25 years ago. So, well, there will be a need in order to look at how we can move forward with tariffs that are that old. But let us make the study and then we will be able to report in detail.
He said this during his official working visit to Pantai 2 Regional Sewage Treatment Plant operated and maintained by Indah Water Consortium, IWK, today at the Federal Capital. Dr. Xavier also reaffirmed the government's commitment that until the study was done, the sewage tariff rates would stay at between 2 and 8 ringgit a month for all types of houses. It was reported that the operational cost to treat one household per month is estimated to be around 20 ringgit, but the tariff had remained between 2 and 8 ringgit. The National Water Services Commission, or SPAN, which regulates the IWK, had proposed a tariff restructure 3 years ago based on water usage instead of a flat rate. FGV Holdings Berhad, or FGV, has announced the appointment of Datuk Haris Fazila Hassan as Group Chief Executive Officer effective 23rd of January 2019. FGV in a statement said the announcement came alongside 3 other appointments on the management team: Datuk Muhammad Hairul Abdul Hamid, Mazri Abdul Hamid Abdul Rahim, and Dr. Christina Oi Susiang. FGV Chairman Dato' Azhar Abdul Hamid said the appointees were appointed based on their expertise and experience and the capability to well manage an organization. Dato' Haris comes to FGV with 28 years of experience in the corporate sector, especially in strategy and change management. He was mostly recently the Director of Commercial and Land Management in Mass Rapid Transit Corporation, Sdn Bhd, or MRT Corporation. Another member, Mazri Abdul Hamid, joined the FGV Group as Chief Human Resources Officer on the 19th of November 2018. Dato' Muhammad Hairul was appointed Group Chief Financial Officer on the 2nd of January 2019, and Dr. Christina came in as Chief Procurement Officer on the 15th of January 2019. Fraser and Neave Holdings Berhad FNN said 90% of their products will be affected with the soon-to-be implemented sugar-sweetened beverage tax. FNN Chief Executive Officer Lim Yu Ho said they are still waiting for guidelines from the Ministry of Finance on the implementation of the tax. Elaborating further, Lim said the company has allocated a 30 million ringgit expenses model this year to produce a more healthy and innovative current and upcoming products with the sugar level not exceeding 5%.
I think sugar replacements, there are some ingredients that can replace sugar, and they all come with different properties, different characteristics, and different costs as well. So when we take out sugar, we need to replace with something, and the ingredients that goes into that have got different costs.
The Chief Executive Officer said this to reporters at a press conference in Kuala Lumpur. He further noted that an increase in their product prices is unavoidable and they will announce it after the Aidilfitri celebrations. Chinese voters, especially those living outside the Cameron Highlands constituency, have been urged to return to cast their ballots in the parliamentary by-election on Saturday. DAP advisor Lim Kit Siang also called on all Cameron Highlands voters to exercise their rights as Malaysians.
Semua pun orang pengundi orang Cina susah. 10 hari lagi Chinese New Year. Mungkin mau balik 2 kali dalam 10 hari. But for the interest of the country, untuk kepentingan anak-anak kita, generasi akan datang.
Lim Kit Siang said this after meeting the public at the Pasar Pagi Kampung Raja this morning. The Cameron Highlands parliamentary by-election will witness a four-cornered fight between PH candidate, who is also Pahang DAP Deputy Chairman M. Manugaran, Barisan Nasional's Muhammad Ramli Noor, a retired senior police officer, and two independent candidates, namely a former lecturer at the Aminuddin Baki Institute, Salihuddin Abdul Talib, 61, and farmer Wong Sing Yi, 40. And that's it from us. In our top story, Vios driver in Penang Bridge accident arrested. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Jessica Lee. Stay tuned to TV2 and have a pleasant evening.